Hey, this is Zachlog the Great. So, I screwed up. Not that long ago, I recorded a discussion with a friend of mine and with author and blogger Matt Cochran. And at some point, I think it was my mistake. At some point, the recording accidentally stopped. A little while later, I noticed that it was no longer recording, and I set it going again. But a significant part of that conversation is just missing. It's just gone. If this were just me and some friends, I might be inclined to just dump the whole thing and oops. However, I did have someone, a special guest. I had someone come in and share his time with us. So I feel obligated to make the best of it. So I'm going. So what you see is the beginning and the end of that talk, and a good bit of it is missing in the middle. I'm sorry, I feel really stupid. But this kind of thing happens sometimes. And once again, thank you, Matt, for joining us. And if you choose to join us again, I will make sure this does not happen on your recording again, at least. All right. I hope you enjoy what I did manage to preserve of this. Bye. Hey, this is Zachlog the Great, and I am here tonight with my friend Nate and his fishing rod.
Hello. Hi. I'm a
And
disappointment.
and we are joined tonight by author and blogger Matt Cochran.
Good evening. Thanks for having me back.
And we are getting together tonight to talk about. If you are interested, I am going to put a link to Matt's blog in the show description, which is how he caught my attention first, and I decided to see if he would be interested in joining us sometime. But we are getting together tonight to talk about C.S. Lewis's poem, As the Ruin Falls. And again, as usual, if you like my work, if you want to support this, you can go to subscribestar.com/Zachlog-the-great to contribute to the show. And that link also will be in the show description. Having said that, Matt has volunteered to read the poem for us tonight. So let me. Where do I have it? There we go. Let me know when you guys see that.
There it is.
Got it now.
Okay.
All right. As the Ruin Falls by C.S. Lewis. All this is flashy rhetoric about loving you. I never had a selfless thought since I was born. I'm a mercenary and self-seeking through and through. I want God, you, all friends, merely to serve my turn. Peace, reassurance, pleasure are the goals I seek. I cannot crawl 1 inch outside my proper skin. I talk of love, the scholar's parrot may talk of Greek, but self-imprisoned always end where I begin. Only that now you have taught me, but how late my lack. I see the chasm, and everything you are was making. My heart into a bridge by which I might get back, from exile and grow man, and now the bridge is breaking. For this I bless you as the ruin falls. The pains you give me are more precious than all other gains.
Okay.
But you never really understand unless you actually go through it at the same time. It doesn't, you can't just read about the pain. You can't just, know that's how it works. you go through it, and you have to go through it. And that's where it transforms from that head knowledge that, and then someone's like, well, wait, no, this is what I thought before, but I didn't really understand it. This is what I thought, but it doesn't even make any sense because intellectually I just can't even cope with it anymore. But then you pass through that, you understand it, and yeah, by God's grace, you get stronger through that. You understand it in a way experientially that you never could before, and yeah, you do make a kind of progress. You move from where you were, and maybe also catch a glimpse of just how far off you really are, because you thought you were fine before. But you go through a few of those in your lifetime, and you realize, like, yeah, I'm making progress, but like God only knows how far away the goal really is. I mean, you have those big life-changing things, whether it's that break you out of that selfishness, whether it's the death of a loved one or getting married. That was a big one for me. That just it changes everything about your life immediately. Or having kids was the same way. Like, I think you're talking before about all the having that pattern, having that place in which I'm really, really comfortable, and then they can't sleep, and so then it's like boom, all out the window for like 3 months while you're trying to figure it all out. But then you come out the other side, and I felt like dying, but also felt like a resurrection, because now everything's, you have a better idea of what's important. You have a better idea of how much time you really wasted beforehand, when you could, you had the centuries, relatively speaking, to do whatever you wanted. Now you might only have 5 minutes to actually get that done. So you just think it's really important. It changes everything, and you don't get that change without the suffering, without the pain, without those kinds of things that really make it real, rather than just an intellectual exercise.
And like I said, it's what we've said before, that this modern sort of culture vilifies the things that improve us. We can't think of pain as like, oh yeah, it's a negative thing, that should be avoided. Sometimes you need to seek pain. Be like, hey, what's something I can do that, and don't seek it for its own sake, obviously, but find out, hey, what's a painful thing I can do that puts me in the service of my fellow man? What's a painful thing I can do to deepen a bond that I really want to, make better? What's a painful thing I can do to bring myself closer to God? It's the whole idea of fasting on the first place is I'm going to go through a mild form of pain or some kind of unpleasantness or deprivation, to show my devotion, and to, and I will use that time and that focus to, pray for deepening revelation and, instruction, direction, or, it's the idea of sacrifice. I'm going to lose this for the benefit of something, and it's not really sacrifice, so it's for your own benefit either, that's just purchasing. But, it's bartering maybe, but, to lose for someone else or for something beyond yourself, this is good. Like I said, we always talk about pain as a negative, and it's certainly not pleasant, but I can't say it's always negative.
Well, and at very least it's informative, right? I mean, it's like, it's not supposed to be happening, but you can take two paths with that. You can either say, okay, what can I do to make the pain go away? Or you can ask, okay, what's wrong? And one of those is healthy, and the other one is just covering it up.
Yeah. It's, why does this hurt?
Yeah, I mean,
is that a good thing? Should this hurt as much as it does, or am I approaching it all wrong? I mean, it's like professional wrestlers and, fighters in general, right? Getting knocked down hurts, but they have learned ways to, interact with that happening in such a way that it minimizes the hurt. And so it's like, okay, am I falling properly? Am I taking the hit well? Or am I just standing there flat-footed and getting shellacked? I mean, like I said, you learn, hurt also teaches you to live better.
Well, and there's there's a reason, when you go to the doctor, he doesn't just, give you aspirin for everything, or stronger versions of the same thing. The point is not to, the point of, going to a doctor is not just make the pain stop, it's fix the thing that is causing the pain. And, if you are experiencing suffering, then, just numbing it, just avoiding it, just undoing it is not going to, is not going to be a good, long-term plan. I mean, although, to be fair, there are, short-term circumstances where maybe that's for a little bit, what you need to do. Maybe you need something to, distract you for a little while when you're in the middle of something like that. I think there's in Proverbs, give wine to those who are suffering or something like that. It's like, not that's not all you're gonna do, but maybe for a little while to let yourself to let yourself through that. But like the other thing is, even just in terms of even just in the most basic physical terms, you're not going to get the only way to get stronger physically is to do something more difficult than you have done before. And if you are persistent about it, it's gonna hurt. It's going to make you sore. But then you keep at it, and if you're persistent, you're stronger than you were before, and that's kind of the goal there.
Yeah, and also knowing the difference between the I'm sore pains and the I've pulled a tendon, or I've I'm not doing the exercise correctly kind of pains. And yeah, this again, and one of those things again, you've got to experience that, and let the pain tell you what's going on. Is it the kind of pain that's going to help you, or is it the kind of pain tells you that something's seriously wrong, and figure out well, okay, what are you going to do about that? Not just I take ibuprofen and hope it goes away, but okay, I'm doing this wrong. Maybe I need to, maybe I need to hold the barbells a little bit differently, or what have you. But it tells you something. It always tells you something. And again, in life, it tells you something about yourself. If I like the idea, go out and seek to do something painful, not necessarily, just so you can experience pain, but to do something good despite it being painful. And then, well, what does it say about yourself that was painful? You go, I don't know, serve food at a soup kitchen or something. Well, I don't want to. Well, why not? Well, and you go through your reasons, you go through why it makes you uncomfortable, and it's like, okay, what does that say about me? That these are the kind of things that make me uncomfortable. And then, what do we need to repent of? What do we need to change about that? What do we need to, what do we need? What kind of medicine do we need for what ails us, as opposed to what kind of comforts do we need to distract us from it?
I don't go to soup kitchens because I don't believe in soup. No, but no, you're exactly right. It's it's what are the deficiencies in my soul, and what do I need to do to prepare them? And praise God that He sends us people to help. And He sends us opportunities, opportunities to succeed or fail. If we succeed, then good. We've taken a step toward remedying our own deficiencies. We've made our best of the opportunities, and failure is going to lead to pain. Sometimes worse pain than the actual doing of the thing, because you're going to think, you're going to have to take a look at your self-image and compare it to what you've actually done. And when you find a disconnect there, that hurts. And then the opportunity arises again, hopefully, where you can then move past that disconnect and realign. No, I want to be the person I think I am. Let's do this.
Well, it's reminds me a little bit of I think from G.K. Chesterton, I think this was in Orthodoxy, but he says like to Christians, to people who believe in fate and destiny, life is an equation, and there's this, and this equals this, and it's all laid out and it's done. And to Christians, to people who believe in choice, to people who believe in free will, life is an adventure because you don't actually know, how it's ending. You don't actually know where it's ending up, and you get to choose. You get to have some input, and each of us has an opportunity to go right or to go wrong, and that's not just a minor thing, you know. And to return to C.S. Lewis, he's like, you've never in your life met an ordinary person. You know, the every single human being you interact with at some point at some point in the future is going to be either a creature who if you met him now, you would be tempted to bow down and worship, or a horror you have never encountered in your worst nightmares. You know, there is an eternal there is an eternal destiny, and by the way, you get to have some choice in yours and other people's. And it's kind of scary to try and think about that. Kind of scary to try and get the implications of that together. Um, but let's see.
The extent to which God gives us freedom and really important things is just kind of astonishing sometimes. Whether it's like being a parent, like, oh yeah, I'm responsible for these two eternal souls that and like I am not in any way up to that task, but it's still mine. He still gives it to us. And I think most of our vocations in life are like that. There's right and there's wrong, there's moral absolutes and so forth, but there's no flow chart for like this is the one right way to do it. There's always that like a space, like I'm giving you wisdom, you act according to that wisdom and see what you come up with, basically. And it's simultaneously encouraging and horrifying at the same time, because you have that opportunity to build, but you have that opportunity to fail also.
Hey, hon. Rachel.
What is
Strawberries and like creamer things you made. That was so good. And I want one so bad. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. I think I covered most of the things I wanted to say here. Nate, how about you? Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Yep. Just wanted to say, shed your shells, little lobsters. All right. Find the points that pinch. Find the points that are rubbing you raw. All right. Lean into them. Become greater. Become more. But shed those shells and grow. And then eventually you'll be ready to do it again and again. And by the way, with the blessing of God, you won't have to do it so much through loss as through discomfort and sacrifice. But if it must be through loss, make the most of it. Do not waste your losses.
Well, and that actually reminds me of something I've seen for myself. The like we've said, you're going to encounter pain, you're going to encounter loss, you're going to encounter suffering in some ways. And the attitude you meet these things with, can change everything. The your your mindset when you run into these kind of things can make them either 10 times worse, or can make it something that you look back on and you're glad happened. To take a very minor example, I remember when I was like 21 or 22, I was meeting some friends to go on a short-term missions trip, and I took a bus trip and to where I was supposed to go. And fortunately for me, I had been reading G.K. Chesterton. I got there and my luggage was not there. And I looked at this. I'm like, I'm having an adventure. One of the first quotes I learned from G.K. Chesterton was, "An inconvenience is only an adventure, rightly considered. An adventure is only an inconvenience is only an adventure, wrongly considered. An adventure is only an inconvenience, rightly considered." And I'm like, okay, well, let's see what happens. And I just kind of like, let's go. And we managed to get something together. And then my friends I was meeting told me, yeah, this other person we know was just meeting us a week or two before, and hers was lost, and she had a rather different reaction. And it's like your attitude when you meet these things, and among other things, your willingness to trust God with it completely changes how it affects you and how it affects others around you. And I am preaching to myself as much as to anyone else here. So Matt, how about you? Any other thoughts you'd like to put on here?
I think we covered most of what I had thought about on this, one way or another.
Okay. Well, thank you both for joining me tonight. And thanks to C.S. Lewis, if you can hear us, for writing this. And God be with you.
Amen.
And also